Hi, my name is Caitlin Webb, and this is my reflection on the Google document that we just studied. And I learned that the training center for Google Docs was really beneficial. And I think that as a future educator, I believe that I will be on my own time going through the lesson and learning the different applications that can be used on the Google Doc Drive. And as far as the Google applications that can be used, you can do email, calendar, you can set up different classes, you can do Google Docs. So I really feel like it would be really helpful to just go through on my own time and learn different things about what the Google applications are. The first thing that I learned is that you can do Google Docs or Google Hangouts to post group-wide conversations. You can have up to 150 people on a conversation. You can also have 10 people on a video chat. So that would make it really helpful for the students that aren't at school that day, so they can still go through their lessons. They can also set it up to where they can learn with the students that were at school, and they can also have conversations with the teacher so she could teach them as if they were in class, so they wouldn't be behind as if they just completely missed class that day. You can also turn off notifications. So let's say the students that you do have on your program, if they are at school, then they can just turn off notifications so they won't see that day of classes or notes or whatever else you put on your Hangout. With the 150 people limit, that would be really a really useful source to use, because a lot of the teams and the groups that you work with are no more than 150 or 100 to 150 students. So it's not like you would be exceeding that 150 student or person limit with the teacher even being allowed on that. You can also set up Google Calendar, and with Google Calendar you can add different events. You can do tests, quizzes, assignments, and other really important dates that are coming up for the kids to be able to have access to, regardless of if it's on their own personal device or if they're at home or they get the notifications on their computer or their cell phone at home. They can still access that information in that calendar to use. You can have them set up alerts to where they're reminded to study for their quizzes if they're not at school, or if they are at home and they are doing homework, they know that the one thing that they have to do is study for a quiz. You can also set up a Google Drive to where the students can upload different assignments to the Google Drive so they can interact with their classes and their other classmates in a way as if they were just in the classroom interacting. That really cuts out on like the face-to-face conversation. However, if the students are at home and they're working on homework and one of their assignments is to submit it to the Google Drive, then you can submit it to Google Drive and the students can interact with one another on the assignment while they are at home. That would be helpful because not a lot of students feel comfortable speaking out in the class. However, they have really good input to put into a class discussion. So that would be useful for those students. You can also set up Google Classroom to have less copies of something. So if you want to assign a quiz on Google Classroom or do assignments on Google Classroom, that would be a lot easier, and you wouldn't have to make 150 copies for the students that that are there in order to complete an assignment. The only downfall with that is that you have those students that come to school and they don't have a charged computer because they forget, or whatever the situation may be. They don't have that ability to have access to a charged computer. They also have a lot of technical difficulties with the computers, so they might have to have their computer sent in for repairs, and they wouldn't have access to a tablet or a laptop after that. So that would be the only way the only reason that you would have to print out those documents and stuff. Another really cool feature that you can use on the Gmail is you can do Translate. And on the Translate application, you can form your comments on an email, and then you can have them submitted into the Google Translate, and they will change your words to any other language that you need to translate it to. So instead of having to not communicate with a parent, you will still be able to communicate with them due to the ability to break down that language barrier for the parents and teachers to have that open line of communication. I believe that all teachers should go through the training because with the advancement of technology and the one-on-one technology that is beginning to be more useful to students at school, they need to gain knowledge so they can be up to speed with the other students in the classroom. If the teachers are setting up their applications and stuff and they are applying for those jobs, I do believe that if you have the extra training and the extra certifications, then you have the upper hand, whereas somebody that doesn't have the knowledge on computer applications or even Google, they wouldn't, because they wouldn't be able to start at the same level as everybody else. They would have extra training, or they would need extra training to use those applications and such to work with their students on their technology. Also, a really good thing is that you could teach the teachers that are a little bit older and that aren't as familiar with computers. You can assist in their knowledge of the Google Docs and different applications that Google offers. In my opinion, after going through this site, I felt like it was really beneficial to, even as a refresher course to educators that do use Google on a daily basis and think that they know everything about the services and different skills that they can use on Google. The one thing that I noticed was different from like Microsoft Word and stuff, as opposed to like Google Spreadsheets, is it saves directly to Google, so you can access it from any device. If you are doing it on your phone, you can access from the Google Docs on your phone or your Google Drive on your phone, and you can update it and you can change it wherever you are. So if a student ever has downtime but they're not home and they don't have that internet access, they can still get on their cell phones and they can update something, or they can get on their personal tablets and they can also update that same document that they were working on at school. Overall, I felt like this was a really good lesson because it taught us how to bring that technology into our classrooms. And I know for me, we already have that one-to-one technology set up in our classrooms. So learning the extra benefits of the skills of the Google application, I think it will make it a lot easier to help those students get more involved with the technology that they have. And they don't feel like using that technology is very beneficial because they don't have the knowledge to use it, or they don't have that extra lesson of this is what all your computer is capable of. They are just bare bones minimum. They know that they can use the Word document and they can use the internet, but other than that, they don't know any of the other Google documents and other skills that they can use. So I believe that learning this Google stuff is really important to not only me, but to my students as well.